Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple things about CSS, and we're just going to kind of get our brains around this a little bit. So as you probably know, as I've probably gone on and on in class, CSS and HTML are kept separate. So HTML is really a structural type of language where it's just defining the structure of a web page. So you could have things like an H1 tag, which is heading, and inherently there is some style that comes along with that, right? If you say H1, it's going to give you the biggest text, and it's going to render it Times New Roman. So all of that is fine. You can affect all of that using CSS. And so the reason that it has something all there already is just because browsers have to have something to have some idea of what to show. So every browser is going to have a base style sheet with it. So all headings are going to be shown as black, 24 point or 36 point, whatever it is, Times New Roman. So your job really as a CSS person is going to be to override all of those styles and add styles to add effects to them and things like that. So you're going to have a default CSS. But again, the H1 tag is not meant to make your text big. It's meant to declare this is the most important heading on this page, heading 1. Then there are subheadings, heading 2s, heading 3s, heading 4s. Those mean something. They are essentially building an outline so you can have some hierarchy to your page, and your page can be understood by robots that go out from Google and crawl your page, or Alexa that reads web pages for you, or for the people who are blind who can't see your pretty styles that actually need to hear the structure of your web page. These are really, really important concepts. So you need to be able to define the structure of your page in the HTML. What we're going to do with style sheets or with CSS is to modify that and make it pretty. We can do things like, of course, change the colors and all of these things, but we can also react to page width and size, whatever device it's being rendered on. Even you can define styles for printers. You can say, if someone prints this web page, make it look like this. So you've got all of this control that you're doing with style sheets that you're going to apply to this web page structure. And so I'm going to split my screen here right in half, and over here is going to be CSS, and over here, let's see, is going to be HTML. So say, for example, and I've got all my structure here. I've got my head, and I've declared my web page, and we've talked about the structure of an HTML document before, but let's just assume that we're starting with a body tag here. So, there's more code above us, but this is our first piece of code on the page. And so we'll close the body tag down here. And so we've got this open and closed tags here. So first thing I can do is say H1. And I'm going to say my heading. And again, the browser is going to render this in, again, Times New Roman, something like a 30-point text, something like that. I don't know what the default size is, but it's going to be big, and it's going to be black. You know what? I want all of my headings to be purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my CSS, and actually the first thing I've got to do before I do this is I'm going to call this CSS dot, actually, no, let's see here. Let's name this file here something useful. So pretend that this is an actual file that we're going to write. And this file is called style, very original, .css. Same folder as this HTML. We're going to say HTML.html. There we go, fine. So I've got this file over here and a file over here. It's two separate files. And up here in my head, at the very top of the document, we're going to have to start over here a little bit. Just do a quick erase. And so let's say we've got HTML, and we've got a head, and then you've got a link tag. And there's other code here, and I've forgotten what that code is, but essentially you're going to link to your style sheet. I believe it's source equals quote style dot CSS, close quote, close link, close the head, boom, boom. And so now what we've done is we've created this link. You want to check you want to go out on the internet and check, make sure that the HTML link code is correct there. But roughly that's the right link, that's the right code. And it's going to go and get this style sheet and embed it. So now any code you put in here will affect the style of this page. This is great. You can put style sheets just about anywhere. But this is great because you can do multiple pages, and all you have to do is just copy this piece of code, and all of those pages will have the same style that you put in here. So I've created my style sheet, and so again, now I'm going to come back. Oops, I got to go do my body tag, and then I'm going to do my heading 1 tag, my heading, and close it. Perfect. I want all my headings to be purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to my style sheet. When you open a style sheet, it's just a blank document. There is no formatting like in CSS or in HTML where you're declaring the document and you're declaring the heading. This is straight, just boom, start typing. So I'm going to say H1, and I'm going to say curly brace. And I'm going to say close curly brace, and I'm going to say color, colon, purple, purple, semicolon. So what I've done is declared that the color of the text is going to be purple from then on. And anytime now when this page loads, it'll show just every heading will be in purple. Heading 1 will be in purple. Now, it won't affect heading 2s. You can override this other ways. But for example, maybe we want to get more specific. And so one of the things I want to do is say, look, only certain headings I want to be purple. So I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to clean that code up a little bit, and we're going to move this down. And so now I'm going to say, I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to say my heading. And then I'm going to close that HTML, or that heading tag. So now I've closed the heading 1, and I've got heading 1 here. So what I can do is I can say, I can group these types of headings into classes, which you think about a class like a group of students, a whole bunch of students, or I can assign an ID, which is only once per page. So a class is for a whole group of tags, and an ID is only one. So in this case, I'm going to say class equals, quote. Now this is an attribute to H1, to heading 1. And I'm going to say purple, or I'm going to say P head. And I'm going to close it, and I'm going to close the tag. So now what I've done is I've added a space here, and then I've defined a class called phead. So now what I can do is I can come back here to my CSS, and I can assign a style here. So if I come back here like this, and I assign a style to phead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a dot, and I'm going to say phead. Now, no dot here, but dot over here. Dot defines a class, says, okay, we're addressing a class. And again, I'm going to do my curly brace, and I'm going to say color, colon, purple, semicolon. And I've defined this purple color. Now, I can do headings all day long. They won't be purple. I can do headings with the class of phead, and those will be purple from now on. So another way to do this is with an ID. That's defined by hashtag. So I could do, phead, same thing, curly brace, and I could say color, C-O-L-O-R, pink, semicolon. Now, every time I define an ID with phead, or with an ID with phead, it's going to have a pink heading. Name the same thing, but keep in mind, this is an ID, this is a class, this is a class. So this will be purple, and if I did another one with an ID typed the same way, instead of class, you type ID right there, you get a pink head. So there's all kinds of classes and styles you can talk about. We can talk about that more on another video. So hopefully you found this helpful.